This is a preview of the Worldwide Telescope Ambassador's Moon Phases Tour. This is the first screen your students will see when they open the tour. It gives instructions for how to move within Worldwide Telescope and basically serves to let them get familiar with the program. A menu down here will pop up if you hover your mouse over the bottom of the screen, and if you click on any of these thumbnails of different objects, it will take you directly to that object. So basically, this lets students explore Worldwide Telescope for themselves and get familiar with the program before launching into the actual lesson. As soon as your students feel ready to progress, you can hit the right arrow key and it'll take you to the next slide. This slide gives basic instructions for adjusting the volume because there is narration on this tour that's crucial to hear. After your students have adjusted the volume and are ready, they can click right here on this box and then begin the actual lesson part of the tour.
This interactive tour uses a computer model to guide you through different views of the Sun, the Earth, and the Moon. The goal is to help you understand what causes the Moon's phases. Before we start exploring moon phases, let's get a quick overview of our solar system. This is an accurately scaled model of our solar system. The tiny yellow dot you might be able to see in the center is our star, the Sun. The colored paths around the Sun show the orbits of the 8 planets in our solar system and the dwarf planet Pluto. Let's zoom in to get a better view of the Sun. The blue orbit line shows the path of our Earth, going around the Sun once per year. Notice that the solar system is so vast that the Sun appears just as a small dot. You can't really see the Earth or the Moon from this overhead view. Let's go take a look at Earth. Since we approached from the Sun, we are now looking at the side of the Earth that is being lit by the Sun. It's the daytime side of Earth. Now let's switch to the same view that you often see in textbook moon phase diagrams, where you're looking down on the Earth, Sun, and Moon from above the whole system. We're looking at the North Pole side of Earth here. You can see the daytime side of Earth. This is North America. And you can imagine the rest of the Earth to the left, which is dark and experiencing nighttime. Now let's zoom out a bit to see the Moon. That tiny speck on the screen is the Earth's moon. Remember that this is an accurate scale model, which means that if this Earth on the screen is 1 billion times smaller than the real Earth, the moon pictured is 1 billion times smaller than the real moon, and the distance between them on the screen is 1 billion times smaller than the actual distance between the Earth and Moon. This dotted ring shows the path of the moon's orbit around the Earth. Time is sped up here to show how the moon orbits the Earth about once every month. Meanwhile, the Earth spins around once per day. Now that we have an overview of how the Earth moves around the Sun and how the Moon moves around Earth, let's try to learn something about the Moon's phases. One thing you might have noticed is that it's hard to see the Moon at all from this scale, let alone identify a phase. This is why almost every diagram of the Moon and its phases you'll ever see in a textbook is not drawn to scale. Things in the solar system are simply too far apart to have objects appear as anything other than small dots when drawn to scale, even the Sun. To aid our virtual observations of the Moon, we are going to exaggerate the size of all the objects in the solar system. This means that their sizes relative to each other are correct, but the distances between them are artificially small. They appear closer together than they really are, and are scaled kind of like Garfield's very large head and large feet on a relatively small body. Now that we have a better view of the Moon, notice how it too has a daytime lit side and a nighttime dark side. To remind ourselves where the light is coming from, let's zoom out a bit. See, the Sun is here, to the right of the Earth and Moon, and it shines on all objects in the solar system, lighting them up in a half-day, half-night fashion. If we exaggerate the size of the solar system objects even more, you can see how all the planets have a daytime and nighttime side, where the daytime side is the side of the planet facing the sun. Let's quickly zoom back in. In this case, the sun is far to the right of the screen, shining its light on the right-hand side of the Earth and Moon. Here is your chance to explore the Earth, Sun, Moon system in more detail. The goal is to try looking at the model from many different viewpoints, so you can better understand how the Moon's position relative to the Earth and Sun causes different phases. You will have a chance to repeat the sequence, so each partner gets a turn to explore the computer model. The camera is centered on the Moon. Left-click and drag the mouse to pan around and look at the Moon from different points of view. Roll the mouse wheel forward and backward to zoom in and out. Practice the controls a bit, then click on the green button to get some ideas of other things to try.
At this point, your students can zoom in and out and pan around as they see fit and get a better look at the system as a whole. When they're done, they can click on this green button to continue.
Can you find the side of the Moon that is entirely lit up?
From this point, the tour will periodically pause like this and ask the students to do some kind of interactive task. At times, it will direct them to the worksheets that accompany this tour and have them fill something out. The tour continues in this fashion until the lesson is complete.